This episode of Healthy Home Hacks is sponsored by the Building Biology Institute. To learn more about creating indoor environments that support health and wellness, visit their free resources at buildingbiologyinstitute.org.
How would you like to improve your health and keep your family safe? You're listening to the Healthy Home Hacks podcast, where we firmly believe enjoying optimal health shouldn't be a luxury. Healthy Home Authorities and husband and wife team Ron and Lisa will help you create a home environment that will level up your health. It's time to hear from the experts. Listen in on honest conversations and gain the best tips and advice. If you're ready to dive in and improve your well-being and increase your energy, you're in the right place. All right, here are your hosts, biobiologists, authors, media darlings, vicarious vegans, and avocado aficionados, Ron and Lisa Barris.
Thanks for tuning in. Welcome back to segment 2 with Liz Menkes. You're going to learn so much about how to protect yourself and your family from the wireless dangers in your home.
Hey, and welcome back to the podcast. Liz, thank you again for being here with us. If you want to learn more, take classes, learn how you can help, and be a voice in your community for change, visit www.buildingbiologyinstitute.org. And we have some callers that have called in that have some burning questions for Liz today. And now we have Jeff on the line. And Jeff, what is your question for Liz?
Hey, Ron and Lisa. Hi, Liz. Thanks for taking my call. So I work from home and I use my wireless router a lot. What can I do about my wireless router and Wi-Fi enabled computer?
Okay, so the best thing you can do for your computer or your laptop is to hardwire it. And what that means is you connect that device to the router using Ethernet cable. And then when you do that, you also have to be sure to turn off the wireless on the devices. And I also recommend that if you have a cordless keyboard or a cordless mouse, you get corded versions. And then you also turn off the Bluetooth on your device. You can literally do that immediately. Go to the store, get the cordless mouse, get the corded mouse.
Liz, no!
Corded keyboard, plug them in, turn off the Bluetooth, get some Ethernet cable, run it to your router, and then turn off the Wi-Fi on your computer. And now, where you're sitting closest to that device, you've eliminated all of that exposure from that computer.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. And what would you say are the measurements when you've measured, say, a computer that's hardwired but is using a wireless mouse and or keyboard versus the other?
Okay, if they've still got a wireless mouse or a wireless keyboard, I could get like 7,000 from the keyboard and several thousand as well from that mouse. And remember, over 1,000 is the extreme concern, microwatts per meter squared.
Wow. So that's shocking because people think, oh, my computer is hardwired. And a lot of people will still use the wireless mouse thinking they're protecting themselves.
Yeah.
And not even realizing that.
And it's also that Bluetooth, which is giving a strong signal, too, of several thousand that's coming out from the device as well.
That is a great tip. You're right, because the Bluetooth can throw everyone off because you think that you're doing everything right and you have
That's
this
right.
going on in the
You're
background.
not using it, but you have it turned on
just like,
unknowingly.
wow.
These little
That's a great
settings on
tip.
our computer that a lot of people don't even know where to find them, and they're easy to find.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a caller here, Liz. Her name is Julia.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Julia. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I do have a question for you. I have a teenage daughter who likes to sleep with her cell phone right near her head, pretty much. She uses it as an alarm clock, and I'm wondering if that's something I should be concerned about.
Yes.
The short answer.
Yes. So that cell phone is pulsing radio frequency radiation throughout the night if it's enabled. And so what we recommend is that she put it on airplane mode, and then she can use it safely as an alarm clock. Now, when you have it on airplane mode, it's also important, look and make sure that Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and cellular are all turned off. Because if they're not, even if it's in airplane mode, it could still be emitting a strong signal. And once you turn those off, the next time you put it in airplane mode, they should now default to being off. But just check it a few times and make sure. Then she can use her cell phone safely as an alarm clock.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I would feel so much better about that.
Excellent question, and we hope your daughter sleeps safely and soundly.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into smart meters, which I like to call not so smart meters.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you'd agree. Ron and I were lucky here in Orange County. We got a notice and we were able to opt out of ours. Granted, they charge us a hefty fee and a monthly fee, but a lot of people around the country didn't get a notice, didn't know there was an opt-out period, and are now stuck with these smart meters. So what can they do? And, what are your suggestions to remediate? And is there a way?
There are guards that you can buy that will do a good job of shielding the radio frequency from the smart meter. And you can do a search on the internet and you can look and find different ones that are available. And the other thing that I recommend, depending where the smart meter is located, if it's like directly on the wall of a bedroom, for example, behind the meter itself, the smart meter itself has a metal plate, but there can be a gap in that plate. So even if you've got a cover or a guard on the smart meter, there can still be a signal that'll come directly behind the smart meter. So to be on the safe side, if you don't have a meter to actually measure it, put a 3-foot by 3-foot piece of aluminum foil right on the other side of the wall from that smart meter.
If you can access that, right?
Or on the wall of the bedroom, of the actual room. Just put it on the wall, put a poster over it, and then that's an additional protection.
For people who don't know what a smart meter is, why don't you tell them? Because I'm sure we got into that and we kind of forgot to tell people. Why is it bad?
Okay.
What is it doing?
So the smart meter is what measures the electricity that's being used in your house. And it's that round meter that is near typically your electrical panel. It's somewhere on the outside of your house. And those meters emit a signal about every 20, 30 seconds or so, and it can be a very powerful signal. So if the smart meter is on a garage wall and it's far from bedrooms, it's generally not a serious issue. But if you've got a smart meter on a bedroom wall, that can be very serious.
Wow. Okay. That's great.
You had mentioned the guards are from a price point perspective, I'm sure the listener wants to know, how much would it cost to get one of those things typically on average?
Yeah. So they range anywhere. I've seen them from $20 up to about $130.
Wow, that's not
and
that
the
much.
aluminum foil is really inexpensive. We're going to be putting that on our head next.
Right? $1 a foot.
Yeah. And we were talking earlier, Liz, and your smart meters can be your electric, monitoring your electric usage. It can also be monitoring your gas, and it can also be your water. So you can actually have 3 separate smart meters in your home. And for us, we live in a planned community, so we know 2 of them were installed. Thankfully, we opted out of both. But so it's not just one. So for listeners, make sure you check all 3 of those. Those all each have to be mitigated individually.
I think it would depend on the utility company. Where I'm located in the San Francisco Bay Area, the gas meter only emits a signal like 4 times a day. So unless someone is extremely sensitive, that wouldn't be as big of an issue as the electrical.
Okay, so we really want to focus on the electric.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Today, there are 4.68 billion cell phone users around the world.
Yeah.
It's pretty staggering. We've all got one. No matter how good of a job we want to do in reducing exposure, we can't avoid that. It's the modern day world. Yeah. So what are some suggestions that you have for reducing cell phone exposure? How can we still use the conveniences by protecting ourselves?
So first, let me tell you what those typically measure. If you're holding your cell phone in your hand and I'm measuring where your body is, I would typically get about 15,000 to 20,000 from that cell phone. And remember, over 1,000 is the extreme concern, microwatts per meter squared. So sometimes people think that if they're holding it in their hand that they're safe. And that's certainly better than holding it to your ear. But to me, it's still a really serious issue. So anything people can do to reduce their exposures is a good thing. And what I recommend is if you can get a corded phone for your house, you can forward your cell phone to that corded phone when you're at home and turn off the cell phone And that way you can reduce your exposures when you're at home.
That's a great idea. Yeah. We have a corded phone that looks like it's from 1950.
It probably is.
And it actually sounds like it too. But hey, we got rid of the cordless phones after we used the RF detector and heard the noise that we played for you guys earlier, but it was even like off the charts. And so we use the corded phone, and what we do is we have an emergency line, and so we can get unlimited calls in on that line. And so I think for someone who doesn't want to pay $1 gazillion to their telephone company, that's a great way to have something at home where you can get unlimited calls. You're not relying, especially for business. You can use that for, calls without doing that.
Well, this is crazy. So do you have a really good real life example of some of the changes you helped with the client before in the past? Have any stories you can share with us and share in the trenches, Liz?
There's one that really comes to mind. And I had this client, and she was an older lady, but she was very strong, very sturdy lady. And she said that over the past year, her health had just started to go down just very rapidly. And it just didn't make sense. It didn't seem like it was just regular aging. She said she had terrible brain fog. She couldn't connect thoughts. She felt that sometimes she described it as literally just losing her brain.
Wow.
And the family, the PG&E had done some work over at the power pole. So they really thought that the issue was that power pole, and that's what they wanted me to look at. So I came out there, and there was no problem with that power pole. But what I found, and they had a larger home, and they had a smaller home on that same lot. And about a year ago, they had moved into the smaller unit so they could rent out the larger one. And they had a cordless phone that was sitting right by the couch and right by the dining table that was emitting about 50,000 microwatts per meter squared. It was a very powerful one, and that's where she was spending a lot of her time. And the other thing she told me is what she loved to do is take her laptop, her wireless laptop, to bed with her. She would surf. She would surf the net for a couple of hours and then fall asleep with that laptop.
Oh no!
Cuddling it. The new teddy bear, the modern day teddy bear.
So the very first thing I told her was, "You cannot take that laptop to bed with you. Get that laptop out of your bedroom." Number one. Yeah. Her daughter happened to be there while we were doing the assessment. They immediately unplugged that cordless phone. And the wireless wasn't an issue because of the way they were getting their wireless, their internet connection coming in. But with her daughter there, we immediately hardwired her laptop. We turned off all the Wi-Fi. We unplugged that cordless phone. And, I never can tell people that when we do these things that it's going to help. I can't say that that's causing their symptoms. All I can do is tell people, reduce your exposures and see how you feel.
Yeah.
And so I spoke to her a couple of days later, and she said, "Oh my God, the next morning I woke up and I had no brain fog." Wow. She said, I can't believe how good it felt to wake up and not have brain fog.
Yeah.
And normally, honestly, with the brain fog and the difficulty concentrating, it might take a week or so before somebody notices some difference. But she noticed it right away.
I bet. I mean, that's a lot of pressure on your body, energetic pressure. And when you relieve that pressure, I know for us, even just simple changes, even when years and years ago, we got rid of the cordless, we felt that instantly. We've never had Wi-Fi, but, being on your cell phone for long periods of time, you do obviously get the thermal heating, which is, well, that's a whole other ballgame because we know that's not the real problem. That's what the telecommunications industry base their studies on. Yeah. And, you were talking about distance is key with the phone. And the Apple pamphlet even says, move these devices away from your body. The manufacturers are even telling you not to keep these close to your body. Yeah. But what's a tip that you can give our listeners, everyone at home right now, at work, on the treadmill, wherever they are in their car, right now? What's something that everyone can do right now that, let's say, isn't going to cost them a lot of money, that they can implement and make a change for the better?
Take that cell phone, and when you're not using it, put it in airplane mode. You can do that immediately, And then maybe every couple of hours, depending on your need, turn it on and check it. You've just reduced your exposures dramatically.
Yeah. I think that's such a great tip. And some people don't even know what an airplane mode is, and especially with children, right? So if you're going to give a child something to play with or a software, download it, turn it on airplane mode, and then give it to the child. Oh my gosh, so many of these parents, you see these little kids with their developing brains and on these devices, these wireless devices all the time. Well, thank you guys. This was so incredibly informative and fun. And I want to leave you with one of my favorite quotes by Thomas Edison. Until man can duplicate a blade of grass, nature can laugh at his so-called scientific knowledge. I mean, right? All this technology, where is it getting us?
Yeah.
So, friends at home, you can take action today. You can make a difference by visiting buildingbiologyinstitute.org. That's buildingbiologyinstitute.org to learn more. And you can use your voice to make real, positive, and impactful change, not just in your home, in your neighborhood, but in our world.
Well, thanks for coming here, Liz, today. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Very valuable tips.
Thanks for listening, and tune in next time. We've got a really special guest coming up.
This episode of the Healthy Home Hacks podcast has ended, but be sure to subscribe for more healthy living strategies and tactics to help you create the healthy home you've always dreamed of. And don't forget to rate and review so we can continue to bring you the best content. See you on the next episode.